Will the UK's decision to leave the European Union sink London's thriving fintech space? I'm joined now at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square by Hank Uberoi, the CEO of Earthport, which is a London-based payment services company. And Hank, it's great to see you.
Very nice to see you.
So what do you think? I mean, do you think Brexit is going to be a problem for fintech in London?
I don't think so. I think obviously it creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is not good. But the reality is, firstly, nothing is going to change in the short run. Nothing is going to change in the next couple of years other than wondering what's going to happen. Second is, London has a significant number of advantages in terms of it's got a credible regulatory system, it's got a good educational system, it's got a good source of talent, and I think that will continue to thrive regardless of Brexit or not Brexit.
Okay, and there are 61,000 fintech workers throughout the UK, so that's a big number. If some fintech companies in London were to leave, where do you think they'd go?
I think the other places within the European arena would be places like Ireland, Amsterdam, Berlin, Denmark, Sweden, where you have credible educational institutions, good regulatory frameworks and all. But London is pretty unique.
But the Brexit sort of could raise concerns about access to capital for these firms, getting that capital from UK banks. What do you say to that?
I actually don't think it's going to impact access to capital because none of the capital for fintech comes from UK banks. The capital comes from smart money, from private equity firms, from global sources of capital already. It's not just from the UK. So I don't think that changes. The one element that potentially changes specifically for the fin part of the fintech is the regulatory passporting that is currently allowed. By being part of the European Union, UK-based companies have access to the entire European market. That could get a little bit more complicated, but it's not the end of the world. For example, we're obviously based there. We're a global payments company. We do payments into 65 countries around the world. We handle regulatory situations in 65 countries. So if we have to create one more regulatory umbrella within the European ecosystem outside of the UK, it's not the end of the world.
But for other companies who may not be as spread across the globe as Earthport is, would you suggest perhaps rethinking staying in London and perhaps opening up an office throughout the rest of the Eurozone?
I think it would be way, way too premature. Now, there are certain outcomes eventually in a couple of years' time that could create more challenges and might, for certain type of businesses and certain companies, may make that likely. But I think it's the low probability and certainly nothing that you can decide on over the coming year or 18 months.
All right, and last week's Brexit vote shocked a lot of us, right? A lot of people thought that the UK would stay in the EU. As a CEO of a fintech company in the UK, what was your reaction to Brexit?
I was shocked, and the day the vote was taking place, I was speaking at a Wired Money conference in London at the British Museum, and at the end of it, I cracked a joke about why certain things were happening and about Brexit, and I don't think anybody in that conference had really any real expectation that the outcome would be what it ended up being.
All right, Hank Uberoi, we have to leave it there, CEO of Earthport. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
For TheStreet, I'm Scott Gamm.